Okay. So it's nice to see you back.
Nice to be back. Yeah.
So how have you been since our last time together?
I've been a little better. Not like incredibly great, but somewhat better than last time.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how have things been better?
Um, I've been okay. Last time that I was here, we talked a little bit about ways that I could maybe try to improve my relationship with my family and
I remember.
my friends, and I did actually try it out a bit, and I I started talking a little bit more to my siblings and stuff, and that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've been more open with me, and I've been hanging out more with my best friend too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So things have been better with that, and
Mm-hmm.
but what's been not so good?
I guess my emotional state a little bit. Just like recently, I had there was some trouble in my family because an aunt that I wasn't too close to, but she was still an aunt. She passed away, and this is the first time that I've ever really lost somebody that kind of lived around here because I lost my grandfather a few years back, but he was in Mexico, so I never really kind of knew him, And this woman I did know, not close to her, but I did know her, and.
So how do you think you're dealing with this recent loss?
I wish I could have said better than how I actually did, especially because I didn't really know her. I wasn't close to her,
So you didn't react how you expected you would?
No, I really didn't.
So can you tell me what happened?
Yeah. Okay, so there have been, obvious drama with all of the arrangements in the family, and since you have brothers and sisters that don't get along, and then there was just a lot of drama. So I try to stay away from that, and that did me good. But whenever we actually went to the funeral, they had her in the front in the casket, and I've never been too comfortable being around, a dead body, because
that can be uncomfortable.
Yeah, I've been in that situation twice before, but once again, it was people that I didn't know, and I just stayed away. I never really got close to the casket or anything, and this time it was no different. And I remember that I was sitting down next to my sister and next to my cousin, and the whole time I kept playing with my hands, and I was very, very nervous. And my sister kept asking me if I was okay, and I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then she's like, you should probably step outside. And I was like, no, I'm good. And I was so lost in my thoughts that I at some point she just touched me, and I got really kind of scared, And later on, I actually ended up having to step outside, and my cousin went with me, and I was crying so much, and it was really, really strange to me because I didn't know this person. I wasn't close to her. I'm like, why am I reacting this way? Not even my cousin that was closer to her was crying like this, So then she was holding my hand, and she told me, she was like, you're shaking so much. So I was like, okay, I didn't really understand what was going on, right? And then eventually we left, and then on the drive home, I started to, I was trying to keep it in, and I was crying. It was, my brother was driving, and then my sister in the front, because she's pregnant, and it was me in the middle, and then my father and my mom. And then whenever we were about to get home, I started just crying. I was bawling my eyes out. I've never cried this hard before. And we got home, and after a while I was able to calm down, but I realized later on that I had a panic attack. And
are those typical for you, or?
This is the first time that's ever happened to me before.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know, it just kind of took a toll in my life right now. I don't know.
I know that last time you were here, you were mentioning some difficulties that you were having with your family, and feeling like you couldn't talk to them that much. But it seems like through this that your family was there for you. So how did it feel to have your family noticing that you were uncomfortable, and noticing that you were having difficulties with this?
It was surprising. and surprisingly good, actually, because, like, right away, like, whenever we got home, I was in the truck, and I was wearing a dress shirt and, like, a sweater vest thing, and, you know, things felt really tight because I was having a panic attack. And, like, the first thing that, like, my sister did was, like, she got off of the car, and, like, my mom was next to me, and she asked my mom to step out, and, like, she came next to me, and, she, you know, took off my clothes, the ones that, like, were putting pressure on me, and, my brother ran inside the house. He found a paper bag, and they just kind of helped me with, like, breathing exercises and everything, and, like, both of them, they just calmed me down. And, like, I know my parents were really worried too, because this, you know, they had never really seen me freak out like this before. And I don't know, like, my siblings were just so good about, like, being there for me. So I don't know, it felt nice knowing that, like, even though we hadn't really had a close relationship as of recently, like, they still cared enough to do this for me, you know?
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, it sounds like even though you're saying that you've had your difficulties, that in this time that you need them, they were there for you.
They were, yeah. It was nice to know that.
I bet that's comforting. So through this death and through the sadness and all the crying, last time you were here, you mentioned your depression and issues with self-harm. Have there been any issues of this recurring? Have they been coming back up?
No. Surprisingly, no. I've been good about it. I've been working out, and I feel like that kind of, you know, like, it puts that attention towards self-harm, like, onto something else where I'm actually expressing it in a different way. So that's been a good way to just kind of handle it, just by doing exercise. It keeps me entertained and busy, and, you know, any, like, urge of wanting to hurt myself, it's just like, no, I'm just gonna exercise instead. Yeah.
Do you ever have any urges to possibly hurt other people, though?
No, that's never really been.
Okay. No thoughts of suicide?
No.
Okay. Well, it's good to hear that you're sounding like you're in a safer mindset than you were before. So, before, you had also been talking about, like, in our last session, you talked about how you were finding that you weren't spending a lot of time with anybody, and you were spending a lot of time alone. How's that progressed?
It's, like I said, or, like, at the beginning, like, I've been hanging out with my best friend a little bit more, and, I've actually been feeling like I want to see him, and, like, I want to hang out and stuff, and it's been fun. Like, I've been enjoying myself a little. But, like, there are times whenever I'm still sometimes by myself, and, like, I could easily just call him and we could hang out, but there's something that keeps me home, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe not today. And, like, I do feel kind of lonely a little, but it's not as bad anymore.
Okay.
It's just still kind of there.
So, can I ask, when you are alone, how does that feel for you? Like, what does your alone time mean to you recently?
Recently, it just depends on the day, really, because sometimes I really like it. I really enjoy spending time with myself. I'm good company. I like spending time with myself, and, you know, I'll just read, or I'll be online or watching a show or something. And then, and it's been more of that lately than the other one. The other one, whenever I just feel, like, lonely, you know? And, like, anything that I do, I'm like, it doesn't help with it.
Okay.
But that's been less than the other one now.
Okay. And then, so any time that you do get to spend with your friends, what does that mean to you?
It's I don't know. It's good.
It's been good?
It's good, yeah. If it means a lot that they still want to hang out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, even though I haven't really been present, they still make the effort. And I guess, I don't know, if it's like they care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it nice knowing that people are caring?
Definitely.
Let's see. Have there been any other concerns that you've had recently?
Not necessarily concerns, but there was something that happened that same Wednesday.
Go on.
Yeah, okay, it's like, after, the whole funeral and all the whole panic attack scare, okay, my sister, I mentioned earlier, she's pregnant, right? Mm-hmm. She, at this point, was, like, 2.5 months. She's now, like, 3 in, like, a week or so. She was 2.5 months pregnant, and, okay, everything turned out okay, so everything's good. But, that same night, we did have a scare that she might have had a miscarriage. And
that would be quite scary.
Yeah. So it was just another stressor to add on to everything that had already happened. And like, I remember that we were hanging out, everything was good, and then she went to the restroom, and then whenever I passed by, like, I saw that my brother was in there with her, and she was like bawling her eyes. So my brother was like, go get her phone, and then we called the hospital, and they suggested that she goes in just to get testing, make sure that everything was good. Mm-hmm. And so then my brother, like, took her to the hospital, and I had to drive my parents. And so it was just kind of, like, very difficult to get myself together because, I had to drive to Turlock, right? Mm-hmm. So then it's like once we get there, it turns out that it's going to be like an hour and a half wait before they even see her. And she has Kaiser. So she's like, I just want to go to Kaiser, so we had to go to Modesto, and all the way to the very, very end of Modesto. So once again, it's like I had to drive with my parents all the way over there, and like we didn't know anything until like 2 a.m. whenever she finally came out, and they said that everything was good. Mm-hmm. So like that was another thing that just kind of like, I don't know, it really affected me, and it made me start thinking a lot about like just loss in general, mm-hmm.
So you're saying all of this was going on, but
mm-hmm.
at the time, how were you feeling?
At the time?
Yeah, when back and forth and not knowing, how did all that make you feel?
Oh my gosh, it was like the worst day of my life, honestly.
Worst day of your life, huh?
It felt like it. Mm-hmm. It felt like it, definitely. Because, I don't know, I was just so worried. I'm like, it's like, I don't know if, like, I understand, like, it was harder for my sister and stuff, but, like, I care so much about her that I'm, like, I didn't want any of that happening to her, and I kind of wish that, like, I could take it away, but I couldn't, mm-hmm. And, like, just not knowing, like, I was so anxious, and, like, I don't know, like, it almost triggered another panic attack, but I was able to get out of it, in a way.
So just to clarify, you're saying mm-hmm. this all happened in the same day of that funeral?
Yes.
So how did it feel to have the funeral and your mm-hmm. panic attack from that, and then to have this on top of it? How did that feel?
It felt like the world was collapsing on my shoulders, honestly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really, really bad. Like, I don't deal with stress well. I never have. Whenever I'm stressed out, like, I don't know how to manage it, and it gets to me really bad. And then I'm like, it's counterproductive, because I'm like, I never do. Like, I'm stressed about something, so I'm stressed and I don't do it, but then because I don't do it, I'm even more stressed, and then it's like a never-ending cycle. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to deal with stress, because I'm usually a very calm person, and I never stress out about stuff, so when I do, it hits me like a truck, in the mm-hmm. face. And so this day, like, it was just thing after thing after thing, and I'm like, I didn't know how to deal with it, to the point where, like, I felt numb throughout the whole thing, mm-hmm. until, like, a week later. Like, it just stayed with me for, like, a week, mm-hmm.
So you're saying that you've never been able to handle stress very well. Mm-mm. But can you think of a time where, even a little time, where you handled it really well, and you noticed that you handled that stress well?
A time when I was able to handle my stress. My sister's wedding day, actually. Mm-hmm. A lot happened that day, too. But somehow I was able to manage it, and I think it was because I was doing everything for my sister. Mm-hmm. It was like, in the back of my mind, it was like, I'm dealing with all of this to take the pressure out of her, and it was just in a helpful manner. Mm-hmm. And, like, I've always been very, very good about, like, helping people because it makes me feel very good about it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, on her wedding day, like, she got married in Santa Cruz, and then the party was going to be back in our town. So it was like a 2.5 hour drive. And I drove her friend and her baby over there, and then I had to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I remember, like, I slept 2 hours that day. And then I had to drive all the way over there, and then we got lost for an hour from the people that we were supposed to go with.
Mm-hmm.
So then eventually we found each other. Everything turned out. They got married, and then we came back. So I drove back to my town, and then what's it called? Afterwards, like, we went to the party. So I had to, like, handle all of the party stuff. Everything turned out great. My sister had a really good time. It was a very ghetto wedding. But it was really fun. Like, she got very drunk, but, like, in a good way. Like, she was just having a blast. And so I was, like, having fun with her, and, like, some other stuff happened. Just light it. Okay. Some other stuff happened later that night that we did have to, you know, like, take care of. So because of that, I didn't get to go to bed until, like, I think it was like 3 a.m. whenever I got up the day before at 4.
Mm-hmm.
So almost 24 hours, but everything turned out good. So that was a good time that I was able to actually manage everything.
It's nice to hear that despite the stress, you had a good time, and everybody seemed to have fun at your ghetto wedding.
Yeah.